What's up, metalheads? It's Death Metal Dave. In your face! Here on MetalMessiahRadio.com. And I have a special guest with me, Steve Hochheiser of Detente, the bass player. What's up, Steve?
Nothing much. Good to meet you, Dave. Glad to be here.
Hell yeah, man. Just to give you a brief history of, I'm a fan of Detente. When I was in the 80s, I did tape trading, and a good old pastime, if you will, for me and a lot of other older metalheads. And one of the lists I got had Detente on it, and it intrigued me. So whoever it was, I don't remember who it was, but sent me Detente, and I was hooked. Fuck yeah, man. And this will be coming up this Saturday. Will be the first time I've ever seen Detente, and I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, fuck yeah, man. So
awesome.
I know you've been an original member from the beginning, but tell me how you got started into music, and let's lead into Detente.
Yeah, so it's funny. People won't remember this. I was actually always in jam bands with a guy named Tony Matuzak. So I'm actually the original founding member, along with Tony Matuzak, of Lizzie Borden, believe it or not.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so year one, I was in Lizzie Borden. I was only 17 at the time, by the way.
Wow.
I was the young guy in the band.
This out in L.A.?
Yeah, that was Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles. And I actually recorded that Metal Massacre 4 in the early days, which was Rod of Iron. They actually took my name off it. They basically kicked me out on my 18th birthday because I was too out of control. And as Greg Hargis said, who's Lizzie, he basically said, dude, you always want to play like Motorhead. So I take that as a compliment. So obviously, when you look at the history with Detente and some of the other stuff, he was right. So.
Oh yeah. And then how did it go from there after Lizzie Borden?
Yeah, so I was just playing around and kind of, everything in LA was kind of tight. I was jamming a band with John Cyrus. I'm trying to remember, it was after he got kicked out of Avatar, we were trying to put together some band. I think it was called Hair and Scare, and then he went off to Agent Still. I just read a local ad that said, hey, we need a bassist for some gigs coming up in San Francisco. So I showed up, and there was Don and Dennis and Ross Robinson. And Ross Robinson had probably just hooked up with them a few weeks before. They had booked some shows, and they had like two players who were supposed to play with them, a guitar player and a bass player who had a run-in with Don and disappeared. So we actually got together very quickly to start knocking out songs. They only had like the demo songs of Vultures in the Sky and Shattered Illusions, and we had to write a bunch of stuff. And we went up and we played Mabue Gardens in the Bay Area, and we played Ruthie's Inn with Blind Illusion, right? So we played a couple of shows with Blind Illusion up there. And so it just from day one, it was just like on the pedal to the metal and just, rushing through, straight to gigs, and then started keep writing and just keep pushing forward. So it was very quick. It started quick, and that first version was ended quickly too.
Wow. You guys, I know that's true. It looks like you started with a demo in 85, and I guess you signed in 86 with Metal. Yeah, we actually signed with Roadrunner. We were released in the USA. So along with Whiplash and Carnivore, we were the first USA signings from Roadrunner. So Metal Blade released us in the USA. They had a deal where they would release all Metal Blade stuff. So a lot of people did that. But we had record deals. That demo that you're talking about from Tape Traders, it just took off. I mean, it generated tons of interest. We had tons of fanzine interest. We were getting write-ups even in magazines like Kerrang back in the day as a hot thing to watch.
So we had multiple offers. We had Metal Blade put out an offer, Combat Records, who at the time, right, and Roadrunner. And we just thought that the deal with Roadrunner, right or wrong, was European based, and we thought we would do better in Europe, quite frankly, because there was a little bit of that punk element to it, and it was a little bit different. And ultimately, we were right for the time. We've sold a lot in the Americas since that time, but back in the day, it was Germany and the Netherlands, quite frankly, who really jumped on the Detente bandwagon.
I gotcha. And well, what caused you to? What would say made you get back together, if you will, decided to rekindle the band? I know Dawn Crosby, she died some years ago.
1996, she passed away.
And
so it always felt like unfinished business, quite frankly. So it's interesting how got back together because, the album just came out in 86. Like we just said, it was very quick. It was like one year from the demo to the album being released, roughly, quite frankly.
Right.
So it was all very quick. And Dawn, it's well documented, right? She had her drug issues and drug addictions, but she was pretty hard to work with. But still, we were pushing forward. Yeah. And Dawn had been on a promotional tour to Europe to talk to all the magazines, do the radio shows. And we had played a gig at the country club that is now documented, that's actually out there at the live recording. And Dennis ended up having an accident, and we didn't even know. It's not like you have cell phones back in the day. We went on a little bit of a break, and a friend of ours called us up, and they say, "Hey, Dennis is in the hospital." And he nearly died. I mean, he was in construction working on tanks, and he got burned by like borax acid. The tank came down on him. So, and at the same time, I was friends with John Sutherland at Metal Blade Records, and Dawn and I had a little bit of fallout in the studio. So she's in Europe, talking to metal forces, talking to Craig, and bad-mouthing me to the band. So with Dennis in the hospital, and then with that going on, we're like, okay, enough is enough. So
a lot of shit going down. It was well known. Yeah, I mean, I knew. I think everybody heard through the metal grapevine that she had addiction issues or whatever.
Yeah, and it ultimately killed her. But I was happy because when she was doing the Fear of God thing, I ran into her club. I actually went to a club to see Mordred because I knew the guys. They lent us a rehearsal studio up in the Bay Area for a gig, and we knew them. I'm like, oh, hey, Mordred's playing, and Dawn was there. And I did have a chance a few years before she passed away to see her, and it was great. We hugged it out and had a nice conversation, right? But then the pipe came out, and it was like Dawn was back to doing her thing.
Oh,
right?
Lord.
But anyway, a label reached out to me to reissue Recognize No Authority back in 2007. It was some small label out of Idaho, and they were doing Metal Blade reissues, and they found out that, oh, you guys aren't a Metal Blade band. They said, we need to reach out to Roadrunner. They didn't know how to get in touch with Roadrunner. So I talked to I think his name was Brian, very nice guy, and I said, so how you do this? And he walked me through it. So I said, I'll reissue the album. I had not even talked to Caleb or Dennis or anybody in the band in probably 2 decades. So we released. I released on my own Cognitive label. I figured out how to do this, and it was successful. And we got an offer from one of the shops who was selling it in Hamburg area, who did the Headbangers Open Air. And they said, hey, you should play the next Headbangers Open Air. So I had to go and track down 2 guys I haven't talked to in 2 decades. Thank God for the internet. You could do more than shop and watch dirty movies on the internet. I was able to track them down, and we got together and we decided to go after that gig. And again, we did it very quickly. It was like, hey, haven't played together in a couple decades, but we got together, and that show went well. We started getting other offers, and at that time, we needed a singer, and this was before Tina Till. We actually had Ann Bulling from
Right. That's right.
Still in for that role. Yeah. Yeah. And look, she was professional. She did a good job. We were different styles. So once it came to the studio, so that's basically what happened. Somebody reached out. I was already kind of thinking, I always thought about the band, and just felt like unfinished business because it ended with that accident with Dennis, and Dennis and I were always very close. So lost touch and just want to get in touch with people again.
So did Ann Bullen record anything at all with you guys?
Yeah. So we did a album called Decline in 2010.
Yes.
And we did some studio sessions with Ann, and they weren't bad. And Ann's a professional, and I really have nothing bad to say about it. But it just didn't quite resonate with me from that perspective, right? Yeah. So we ran across Tina. Caleb did at a party. Tina met him. He said, "Oh, I'm Caleb." She said, "Oh, I'm a singer. What do you do?" And he said, "Hey, I'm the guitarist from Daytona." And she goes, "Oh, I love you guys," right?
Yeah.
So it just happened that she already knew of the band, and we listened to a demo tape of hers, and it was just like, this is the singer. So there's actually a reissue on Extreme Records that features both the album Decline with Tina on it, and there's a couple demo tracks with Ann on it. And again, they're not bad. So it's a reissue out of Europe on Extreme Records. So you could find it out if you Google it, quite frankly.
I am going to find that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Tina is fucking awesome. Holy shit. I mean, holy shit. If there's anything close to Dawn, I think Tina's it, man. Wow.
Oh, yeah. And it was, and she has a range, and no kidding. I'm just telling you, the moment I heard her demo, I'm like, this is it. And we dragged Tina. We were already starting to record. I sent her a couple tracks from what we were recording with Bill Matoyer, because we had already started with Ann, right? And said, "Hey, can you put some lyrics to this?" And she sent me something like a few days later, and it was great, So I'm like, "Hey, come down to the studio. Let's try it in the studio." And she didn't know. It was like, we're already done. We're starting to record, right? Because it's not terribly different than, the first version with Recognize No Authority, was just like, let's just get to it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're like the Ed Wood of music, I guess. Okay, take one. Perfect. Let's move to the next one.
Awesome.
Right? So, yeah. So we got her into it, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, are we going to record?" I'm like, "We are recording." She's like, "Oh shit, man, let's go." So her audition in the studio is literally on Decline. So with Degradation Machine and This Is Not Freedom, that was literally her first shot with the band. She played around on a tape and just sent us some stuff, but we loved her voice instantly, and we loved working with her, quite frankly. Through that whole Decline period, did the European tour with her. It was great. It was really, so she's stuck by with us to this day, So, and like you said, I mean, and, the one thing about Dawn, when I think about Dawn, and I always speak, there's obviously the drama side that comes with addiction. And as you get older, right, you kind of realize that, hey, I've had a lot of friends pass on from various addictions, and you get a lot more sympathy and empathy for the people, and you're able to forgive a lot of the nonsense that went on at a particular time. But, one of the most impressive things about Dawn that people don't really point to is what a brilliant lyricist she really was, because the songs like both these songs, I mean, Holy Wars, you walk in with the riffs, and, a half hour later, she has 90% of it composed, and even the songs that are really less political and more just about herself, people always connect with. And that's the one thing I constantly hear from people, is how they really were able to connect with her. So it's really unfortunate that, she had that addiction, but people say, she chose drugs. No, she was a hardcore addict that had some other hardcore addict friends, and it's not like you choose it. I mean, you're trapped in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to get away from it. So I still have a ton of respect for Don.
I have a brother that passed away at the right after Christmas, before New Year's, this past New Year's, of addiction. Very sad story. Tried to help him. Tried to help him. It just did not work out, you know?
Yeah. Because look, I mean, all of us, you know, whether it was me, Dennis, you know, I wouldn't say all of Caleb, Ross actually never drank or did anything, quite frankly, back in the day, but we all could party pretty heavy. But, you know, some of us could just say, okay, I have a hangover. That's enough for me. Right. Yeah. You know, others just never end the cycle, you know, So, but you know, she was certainly a talented individual, and she was on the front line of it, and we were just hella lucky to run into Tina, quite frankly, in the way we did, because it was like, you know, how often do you just go through life and lightning strikes twice? You know, it was.
Man, I can't wait to see this shit live for sure, man. So you guys, I'm sure you're going to continue on with Detente and release more stuff. And you basically just kind of do one-offs nowadays, don't you?
Yeah, you know, we do, because we did the European tour thing, and it wasn't easy then. It's even harder now.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is.
A lot of our friends are touring. It takes, I mean, yeah, like Ed put in on the Armageddon Fest, you know, and these guys work their asses off to do it. So I hope people will get out to the show, because I don't think they understand. A lot of people don't understand how hard it is to make these things happen, and the passion that you and Ed and all of us have for this style of music to try to keep it alive, right? You know, so
it's for the love of metal.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's not like anybody sitting here, you know, counting the gold bars from it, right? So, you know, it's a passion for music. It's a passion for the history of it that keeps people doing it. And look, I love music. So, yeah, we have some new tunes, but we do mainly just do festival one-offs, because the just trying to string together a tour is so difficult, and you just got to be prepared to lose money, quite frankly. You know, so
yeah,
at this age, it's like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to hang on to money.
Exactly.
You know, not just throw it away. But anytime a good legitimate show comes up, we did Metal Threat last year. Actually, Nasty Savage was played same night. I think they were right after. Yeah. So we played with Nasty Savage last year. That was a great gig. This is a great gig. I mean, you know, Morbid Angel, Blood Feast, you know.
Blood Feast, yeah.
Savage, Detente, you know, others. So, shit, man. I mean, you just don't find shows like this. So I'm excited to play with so many great bands.
Man, I've been a friend of Ronnie's for a long time, and he's a legend in all of the metal world, but especially here in Tampa. He, you know, him and Nasty Savage just influenced the death metal scene here, you know. And
yeah, I mean, when you talk about death metal, I mean, they you know, you talk about the early innovators, right? Nasty Savage, Possessed, you know, it's just like, you know, I people always talk about, hey, do you follow death metal? But when I think of death metal, probably because of my era, right, I always go to those guys, right? That as the beginnings of it, right?
Oh,
you know, yeah, certainly.
And even Sabotage, because in this area, the bands just wanted to, they said, oh man, I want to be like that, but I want to go a little bit heavier, you know? And then Nasty Savage was pretty extreme and wild, with Ronnie incorporating the wrestling and the TV bashings, and you know, everybody was like, holy shit, you know, and the crazy technical playing of David Austin and Ben Meyer. And then they just wanted to take it to another level. So that's how death metal started. And you'll hear from all of them around here, that's how
that whole area, you know, everybody, you know, that the death metal scene is born in the Florida, certainly, you know.
Yeah. So. But hell yeah, man.
It's the humidity.
Yeah, it is. It's the brutal heat. It's brutal. Fuck yeah, it's like hell here. But Ed Farsty is a fucking awesome dude, and I don't know them super well, but I've become to be good friends with them, seeing them at festivals around the last few years. And a lot of people I know that have done shows with Ed, because he's a promoter that's been doing this for many, many years in New York City and in the area up there. And I was like, I'm going to go to this show because Detente's going to be there. And then all of a sudden, I think the darkness dropped off, and it was a bonus for me that Nasty Savage got added, my hometown boys. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's certainly, it's one of those shows, if you're if you're on the East Coast and you can make it, certainly, right? Because this is actually our first show in New York.
That's
right?
crazy.
So,
hell yeah.
Yeah. So, of all the places we ever played, and my father was from New York, so I when Ed reached out, I'm like, hell yeah, I have a lot of roots on that side, family side. So I'm excited, and we've always heard from people. So come to the East Coast, right? So we're excited to play the show, and again, we, like you said, we do one-offs, and we're always looking for professionally run shows. So he has a great reputation out there.
Yeah.
As when we did Metal Threat, Paul had that was a good reputation for a show too. I mean, because you want to make it count, right?
Right.
Right. And nobody wants to go out there and club night, 30 people. I remember
and hate life.
Diamond Head came through town, right? And they're played, and there's like 10 people standing there. It's like,
Lord, yeah.
That's a long ways to go for 10 people,
Exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, we're expecting it to be a great show, great bands, great venue, the Monarch, quite frankly. So yeah, I think you chose a good one to make the trip for.
Fuck yeah, man. So, Steve, do you I'm sure you have a full job. Do you mind saying what you do? What do you do on the side? I say it's on the side, but it's our job,
Yeah, actually on the side, I'm in the software business. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've had I cascaded the energy from trying to be a successful musician into a successful business person, and I'm actually a family man. I have 2 kids in college.
Killer.
So I now most of the other 3 members, they live in Los Angeles. I live outside of Austin today myself.
Oh, okay,
so,
gotcha.
Not from Texas. So moved here about 5.5 years back. But you know what? I hear it from everybody I know. I'm still that guy. So.
Hell
it's kind of, which mask are you wearing in life? And I'd say I'm still that musician, and I'm wearing the mask of a businessman on a daily basis. So.
That's exactly what I do. I say, okay, I'm in my uniform. I'm Death Metal Dave tonight, but tomorrow I'll be Dave Allison at work and run the office. Yes, such an exciting job. No, it is very exciting what I do. I'm not getting into it, but, so I actually work at a golf course supply company. We supply golf courses with maintenance supplies, like fertilizer and flag sticks. It's a big business in Florida and the Caribbean, but,
yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, if I ever could fucking golf worth a shit, I probably would have been a lot farther ahead in life.
I'm not a golfer for sure. Yeah, you're probably right. It seems like the golfers are you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
all I want to do is beat people with a golf club. I'm not...
Exactly, because I can't really hit the ball, so I just want to hit something.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. I mean, it was a new word to slice.
Yeah. So, what do you? Are you into any music from nowadays that you might listen to? I'm an eclectic. I listen to bluegrass, to classical, to southern rock, and a little bit of old country and rock and metal.
I was talking to a friend about this today. He's a former singer back. I actually did this side project back just post Detente with Dino Cazares and called the Douchewood, right? It was a goof off project. It was a death metal grindcore type thing. And we were talking today about it, and he was saying, I kind of like this song. And my opinion about music, quite frankly, is that if I hear a song, I don't care about the genre. I know some people, I remember Gary Holt posted something about, why you guys hate Taylor Swift or anything. It's not like she's my favorite. But I'm from a generation like he is and you are, where it's just like, if you hear something you like it. Who the fuck cares, So if it's country music and I like it, I like it. If it's, pop and I like it, I'm remarried. My wife's from Vietnam and she listens to Vietnamese pop music, singing in Vietnamese. I don't mind it. Her parents listen to Vietnamese bolero when I'm in Vietnam, traveling around with them. I enjoy a good tune regardless, So I still listen to a lot of classic rock, but if you look at my, with the stuff I say, I still have suicidal tendencies on there.
Yeah.
I have Sabbath on there because Sabbath. I think all of us go back to Sabbath.
Yes.
Regardless whether you play it fast. Rob Zombie once said everybody's just playing Black Sabbath at different speeds, and I agree with that, quite frankly. So I still have that on there, but then I'll download different things at different times. Like Atrophy came out with a new album, so I checked it out. I'll download the Accused from time to, I won't keep it. Certain things stay on there, right? Yeah. Some bands like Sabbath and Zeppelin, they just never leave it. But I constantly rotate this stuff through. I have a bunch of Judas Priest on there again, going back in history. So if somebody introduces me to something new, I'll check it out. I still listen to radio, occasionally do it, but a lot of the stuff, like if you think about XM, the metal they play on there, it's just kind of that, Bullet for My Valentine type style. It just becomes a little bit redundant for me. But again, I don't knock those guys either. Anybody who can make a living doing what they enjoy, I'm happy for, quite frankly. So if it's not for me, like Ross, right? Ross went on to discover Korn, become a producer, Slipknot and everything. That, I've heard a couple songs from each one of the bands I like, but I'm not a huge fan. Like I said, it's not, the new metal scene was never my thing, but I hear a song here and there I like also. But I'm more about, you hear a good song, just enjoy it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And fuck yeah, man. So at the Armageddon Fest, do you guys, I'm sure you're going to bring some merch.
Yeah. So we're going to we have a limited edition shirt, right? Because we just had a reissue of that first demo on vinyl. We have a 10-inch vinyl picture disc of the original demo that was in the tape trading days. So we'll have that. So we'll have some CDs, cassettes, T-shirts, a little bit of vinyl for those who want to partake.
Hell yeah! And is there a place that people can go buy your shit on the internet? Bandcamp?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. You can actually go to officialdetente.com. And there's a link on our Facebook page too, which is also Official Detente. And it pretty much anything that's current right now is available on the page, right? So we had a High Roller Records Slatter reissue, a 100-piece run that was made exclusively for the band, Red Splatter. Then we have, that new demo reissue that we talked about.
Yeah.
And T-shirts. So, yeah, but if you want to save the shipping, come to the gig.
Hell yeah. I'm spending a lot more getting up there, but I'm still going to buy some shit, I'm sure.
Come by. Yeah. We certainly want to give you, being back in the tape trader, we certainly want to hand you one of those. So come on by and I'll set you up.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. This is fucking awesome. I'm excited to see you guys. And, like I said, I'm excited to see Tina, do her thing too. It's just a unique style to me, and it always has, and Detente's always been unique. And, so fuck yeah.
I think so, I think, we do stand out because, we have our own things, certainly. But the one lesson I think we learned, because it's great, you could say Detente, is we would go to Germany and go these far off lands and everybody's Detente. It's like, hey, if you really want to be accepted, don't use a French word for your name.
Right.
That if we had to redo it, but that was Don's thing, right? I mean, Don was like, hey, we're going to call this Detente, right? It's like, okay, well, name's a name, right? Dan makes the name, but then on all our flyers, we're like, phonetically pronouncing it for people because nobody can ever pronounce the name,
Anyway. Even me being from Alabama, I still called it Detente back then. I might have been corrected, or I might have been told that by a friend. I'm not sure though. But
that's great though. But we always joke about that. It's like saying, if we wanted truth, maybe we would have more success.
Well, hell yeah, man. I get to see you this weekend and I'm fucking excited, man. Appreciate you joining us, man, and taking the time to talk to us here at Metal Messiah Radio. And fuck yeah, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Detente. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the support, and I appreciate you reaching out. And like I said, look forward to meeting you at the show. So I'll see you there.
Hell yeah, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Awesome,
all right,
man.
Take care.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Hell yeah, that's killer.